down the street. They're heading your way now. And so they give us a warning, and the security that's here and the police officers will keep an eye on them, and then they move down. But Chris, if you look over your shoulder, just behind you there, they have open traffic back up. But there's a line of police officers now in tactical gear in the middle of the street. So when the cars get down the street, maybe about a quarter of a mile, as you said, where the police cruisers were on fire earlier, they have to turn around. They're not allowing them. They're not allowing them to do that.
That's true. And you're right. There aren't big numbers, but it only takes one. That's what we keep seeing. Is that there are a lot. 95%, you could say, if you wanted to put a number on it, are here protesting. They're angry, but they're well within their rights. It only takes a few to create the response, and then it gets out of control very quickly. And that's obviously the concern. And they are getting good advice from people in the community about how they can be arrested and what they should do and to stay calm. But you can't have enough leadership in a situation like this, and clearly there is not enough right now.
That picture that you're looking at right now, that's to the right of us, that is Anderson. That is right there on West Florissant. If they were to turn that camera around, that would Canfield, and then maybe about a quarter of a mile down the road would be where Michael Brown lost his life. That is the public storage facility, sadly, that has gone up in flames there. And again, as I mentioned earlier, Anderson, you did your live shots at that facility back in the summer. I did mine, and as well as many of our colleagues. It's very familiar to us, and of course extremely familiar to anyone who is in this community, right down from the QT that was burned out as well during the initial altercations, the initial unrest, I should say.
Right, it's very close to, right across the street, in fact, from the barbecue joint. In fact, there was a lady, I remember, during the protest who was basically camped out there handing out free water, handing out food and stuff to protesters. I think everybody who was here remembers her very well. She was a very vocal presence, very memorable presence. That's that scene where you're seeing the building burning. And it should, the thing you're not seeing in that picture is fire department personnel, and the reason is because, according to Stephanie Elam, there were shots that went off, and we did even hear what sounded like gunfire live in our coverage a short time ago. And according to Stephanie, that's when the fire department basically pulled out. So we see a number of structures now burning simply out of control. Yeah. And that is the last thing people in this neighborhood want to see. And also, Don, as you point out, this is several blocks from where Mike Brown was killed. And that is a community of families, of people with small children, and I think of them right now in their homes, watching this on television, smelling the smoke, probably being, in some cases being able to look out their windows and see their neighborhood in flames.
Yeah, absolutely, they are. And again, the people who in that community who will tell you they probably need this the least, and they're going to have to rebuild now. If many of them rebuild, and that let's hope they do, because during the initial unrest they said no one's going to force us out of here. We're going to rebuild. We're going to stay here. We're going to open again. And it will be interesting tomorrow and in the days to come to see what their reaction is, Anderson.
Hey, I want to check in with our Jason Carroll, not too far from your location. Jason, what are you seeing?
Well, right now the armored vehicles have moved in front of the burning building. They've put out the announcement that if the people who are gathered here do not move, they will be arrested. We heard this before. You can hear, listen to it now.
Return to the sidewalks and your vehicles and leave the area immediately.
Same announcement.
You will be subject to arrest.
The same announcement we heard when we were with the Ferguson Police Department. Now we're hearing it now. Behind these armored vehicles, there's a line of officers there who are in tactical gear, once again slowly moving down the street here in West Florissant. Basically, anyone who does not listen to what they're saying here, Anderson, they're going to be arrested. What they're trying to do is they're trying to secure the area in front of this burning building so they can then get in there and do what they need to do to extinguish that fire. And then I think what they'll end up doing is moving their way down then to the second building down here, which is also on fire. But what they've got to do is they've got to clear out these pockets of demonstrators that you see here across on the side here, who are sort of gathered there by their cars and just sort of standing there. So what we have is these armored vehicles here slowly moving down the street, making the announcement, Get out of the street or you will be arrested.
Jason, we're going to continue to check in with you and all our correspondents all throughout the city of Ferguson and elsewhere. We also, the other track that we're working on, of course, is going over, and we have teams right now in various locations going over the eyewitness testimony, going over all the evidence that was presented to the grand jury that was released by the prosecutor, McCullough, earlier tonight, shortly after he made the announcement that the grand jury will not be indicting Darren Wilson in the death of Michael Brown, who are here with Sonny Hostin, Mark Romero, and others are with us. We're going to continue to pour through those documents, bring you whatever we find as soon as we find it, just to give you a sense of what evidence the grand jury actually heard and how it contradicts or confirms eyewitnesses that you have heard from and other eyewitnesses that we have not heard from until we are able to read their testimony tonight. We're going to take a short break. Our coverage continues in just a moment.